All right, so with the worksheet that we've posted for today, there are, let me get to that worksheet and I'll show it to you real quick, actually. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Let me get this up so we can look at it. And I'll tell you which problems you're doing. I believe there are 10 or 12 problems there, if I recall. And let's see, quadratics. All right, so this is, all right, so let me share this screen real quick with you. So here we go. All right, so this is the worksheet for today, and we can work on this in groups once we go through some other items related to IXL. So the IXL section on from Thursday, many of you completed, but some of you had some difficulty with as well. So let me get these last, these couple of people coming in here. So, hold on one second, my dog is whining. All right, I think he's all right now. So, all you're gonna be doing on this worksheet is the odds starting at number 3. All right, so number 3 is already actually factored for you. So really all you're gonna be doing is the zero product property, meaning that you're going to take 4k plus 5 and set it equal to 0, and take the k plus 1 and set it equal to 0. And then down here, you'll want to get these things set equal to 0. So you'll want to, for example, on this one, move that -5 to the other side by adding. So you need to have them equal to 0 before you can start factoring. All right, so on 5, on 7, on 9, you'll need to move those numbers over. Same thing with 11. On 13, you'll need to move both of these things to the other side before you can start factoring. So all of those there, you'll need to get those set equal to 0. 19 is already equal to 0. So I believe I said, let's see. Just double check, because I think I wanted you to do 10 problems. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I believe 21 would be the 10th problem for your factoring there. So if you were having trouble with the IXL and would prefer to replace that with this worksheet, that's fine. If you are having perfectly easy time with this and just want to get some extra practice in on this worksheet, you can do that as well. So let me come to one person that I know sent me something and also has been having some issue with his IXL. So Evan, I'm coming to you real quick. Evan, you there?
Yes.
All right, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. All right, so you said that you were having some trouble with the factoring of this, but also you've been having some issue with your IXL showing
Yes.
your score. So can I ask you something real quick? Have you
Yes.
been signing in with the username and ID that has the @Hillsboro SCH, or have you been signing in with the @LearningGate one?
Let me check. If I sign out and then log back in. Hillsboro SCH.
Okay, so I think that's the issue, because remember we started, we had it for a little while from Hillsborough County, and then they stopped it, and then they started up, and then they gave it to us through LearningGate. IXL did, that is, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're signing in with the Hillsborough SCH, they IXL reactivated any old, once people started going into virtual learning like this, they reactivated every old account that ever existed. So any old IXL sign-ins still work for you, but I'm not seeing them because I'm signed in under the Learning Gate one. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So anybody that's having that issue, so Kirsten, for example, I think Ilish is having that. So check and make sure that you are signing in using that @LearningGate one. And if you need me to send you the password for it, or user ID, any of it, let me know, because I think that was the issue. And I think they deactivated that old one under Borough County and just have those active. So if you try and sign back in under the Hillsborough County one, it may tell you that your account is inactive at this point. If you're having issue, just send me a message, and make sure you're signing in under that Learning Gate. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ed.
All right.
So let me take a look at some of the IXL. All right. Let me get to Kirsten real quick. Sorry, not Kristen. Kirsten. So let me locate Kirsten in this thing. All right. So Kirsten, what's up?
When I tried to use the password and username using,
Yeah. Did it not work for you? Kirsten? Are you there? Kirsten, you there?
oh yeah, sorry.
So does, are you, because I think you've been having the same issue as Evan, right? Where
Yeah.
it's been showing up for me. So are you using the Learning Gate one or the Hillsborough SCH one?
I was using the Hillsborough one, but then I tried to log in with the password you sent me since I already Edsby messaged you,
Mm-hmm.
and that one didn't work. Like it said
That-
it wasn't.
That didn't work either?
No, it said wrong password or username.
Let me see. When did I send that to you? This morning?
Yes, this morning.
All right. So, all right. What I'll do is when we get into, we're going to go into some breakout rooms. So I'll talk to you there about it when we go into those breakout rooms. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks. All right. So let's take a look at something real quick on here. Okay. All right, so Chase just sent me a message asking, does it mean that we can either do the worksheet or the IXL? And the answer to that is yes. So if you've already done the IXL, you don't necessarily need to do the worksheet. As I said, it's just additional practice, good practice. Because as I said, when we first started learning about factoring, I said that factoring appears in multiple places and that one of the places it was going to appear is in the next unit. And so this is that part of it. All right. Most trinomials that you can use as a quadratic function also usually factor. So we normally are going to be able to factor them. All right. In the next couple of lessons that we'll look at later this week, starting on Wednesday, and then next week we'll look at another method that will allow us to solve quadratic equations if they don't factor. But normally they're going to be something that can factor. And so factoring is going to be your best method. And Hannah, yes, that is my cat in the background. My wife went into the bedroom and the cat really wants in there. So By the way, my 2 foster dogs got adopted, so we were able to let our cats back out into the world. So that's why last week you weren't able to see the cats or hear the cats, because they were, we had to have them locked away because one of our foster dogs wasn't really that great with them. But they both got adopted this weekend, so yay. Less animals in the house for the moment, and we may get a couple more tomorrow, but for right now we're just down to 3 dogs and 3 cats again. So thank you for asking about the cat. And Courtney, I'm not going to grab my cat, but it's likely that she's going to try and jump up in my lap anytime now. So yes, we will see the cat at that point. Oh, my wife's bringing the cat. There's the cat. That's Betty Bowtie. All right. So, all right, let's get into this worksheet and talk about it. So let's go back to it. All right, so let's go back to our worksheet here. Okay, so what I want to do is a couple of these from the other side real quick before we get into any of the ones on the other side. And I'm just going to copy one of these and put it on our whiteboard real quick. All right, so let me make that a little bit bigger, and then I'll share that screen with you. All right, so let's take a look and make sure that everyone can see that. So I'm just gonna jump around a few people and see what we would need to do first step-wise here. So Brooke. Good morning, Brooke. How are you?
Good.
All right. So in this problem, what would be the first thing we would want to do for this problem here?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay. What has to happen for any quadratic equation before we can start solving it? What does it have to equal? Can it equal 5? Let's go to Jules. Good morning, Jules. Jules, you there? Maybe, maybe not. Jules, you there? All right, we got some possible technical issues. I got some raised hands though. So let's go to Kyla. Kyla, good morning.
Good morning.
So what would we need to do with this here?
Well, you would have to, well, first of all, I can't see the whole problem, but that's okay.
No?
No, I can't. I can only see like half of it, but it's okay. I can see what I need to see.
Can we see the n squared?
Yes.
All right.
Now I do. So, you have to make the, you have to simplify the n2, so you would have to get the equal sign, what's on the equal sign to be 0, so that, or not 0, if that makes sense.
So
I don't know if I said that right.
So this side, I think is what you're saying, this side needs to equal 0, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So in order to do that, we're going to just get rid of it, right? So
Yeah.
subtracting 5 from there, we got to, because it's an equation, we got to do it from this side, and that's the only term we can actually subtract 5 from. So we're going to subtract it from that 15, right? So what's left when we do that is this, right? So that's where we got to get to. So thank you, Kyla. And let's see. What, with this, now if we want to factor this, right, we need to go to, I'm going to come to Lily real quick. So Lily, if I want to factor this problem, okay, what do I know about my signs in those binomials from the signs in the trinomial? Lily, you there? Hello? All right, we'll come back to, let's see. Let's try Jaden. Jaden, good morning, you there? Jaden? All right, well, let's just go with hands. Who can tell me what we would do with our signs here? What are these two plus signs in the trinomial tell me about the signs in the binomials? All right, so let's see if I can, looks like I got a couple of hands here. So let me locate Emily. She raised her hand. Emily, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
All right, so what do we know about the signs in these binomials for factoring since we have,
Well, since they're both positive, they're going to be both positive when you put them in the parentheses.
right, so this sign tells us what?
That it's going to be a positive.
Well, it's going to be, that second sign tells us that they're going to be the same, right? When
Yes.
they're the same. And then this one tells us what kind, right?
Yeah.
If it's a plus, that means they're the same signs. And then the first sign tells us what kind of sign. So you are correct that they are both going to be pluses. What's going to be our first term in each of the binomials?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, well, first you have to factor them out to see what works to make it 7 and 10, correct?
Well, let's talk about the first terms in the binomials. How are we getting this n squared? What has to be
Oh, and sorry.
right, so we got to put an n plus and an n plus. That's the only way that these first terms multiplied together are going to give us the n squared, right?
Yes.
So now you're talking about how do we get this 7, right? So what are we looking for get that 7? What are we talking about? How do we get that? What are we looking for from this number, from the 10?
From the 10?
Yeah, what are we looking for that?
I'm not sure what you're asking. I don't understand the question.
So this 10, right, is going to tell us something about these last numbers in here, right?
Okay.
So what is it telling us? Like, or what are we looking for from it in
The
there?
factors
Okay, so we're looking for the factors of 10 that do what?
get us to 7.
Yeah, that will add up, right? This sign not only tells us that they're the same, but that we're adding to get to that 7. So we're looking for the factors of 10 that add to 7. So I'm going to come over here to Eli real quick. Thank you, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Eli, what are our factors of 10 that will add up to 7?
So our factors for 10 would be 5 and 2 because they multiply to make 10 but add to make 7.
Right, so our factor choices are 1 and 10, obviously, because they multiply to make 10, and 2 and 5. But the only ones that add together to give us the 7 in the middle are the 2 and the 5. All right, so from there, now that we are factored, thank you, Eli. Now that we have this factored, what do I need to do with those two binomials? Courtney, I'm going to come to you and see if you know this info.
Okay, so what you do is you separate them into the n equals, and then it would be -2, and then n equals -5. And
All right,
that's
so we're gonna separate them into, but if they multiply together to equal 0, then at least one of them has to equal 0, right?
yeah.
We're gonna split it up into the two equations and then solve each one. So you said this one's gonna equal -2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one's gonna equal -5.
Yep.
All right, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's take a quick look. Does anybody have questions on a problem like that where we don't have the leading coefficient, right? These are the easier versions of the problem because we don't have that leading coefficient. That first coefficient makes it a little more difficult to factor. But does anybody have questions on these types? All right, so let's go to, let me just clear this board and we'll go grab another question that has a leading coefficient from our worksheet. So give me 1 second. Let me find one of those. All right, so let me grab this one real quick. I'm going to be looking at number 18 on that worksheet, by the way. So let me just copy that and put it on our whiteboard. All right, so, all right, let me go to, come back to Jaden real quick and see if Jaden is there. Jaden, are you there yet? Not sure he's having difficulty with his audio or not. All right, so let me try over here with Donovan. Donovan, you there? Donovan? Here, Donovan.
Just go.
Donovan, you there? All right, we'll come back to you, Don. All right, so it looks like Jules and Jaden have been having some microphone issues, they both told me. So let's come to, I'm gonna come back to Brooke. Brooke, you there? Brooke? All right, let's try, Brooke, you there? No? All right, let's try Mia. Mia, you there? All right. Well, let's see. Let's come to Nina. Nina, are you there? Nina? All right, so we seem to be having an issue with almost everyone's audio here. So I'm just going to walk us through it, and then hopefully we can, once we split into rooms after this, we can hopefully hear one another. So let's walk through this one real quick. Yes, my cat. Hey, cat, be quiet. So we're going to need to get this equal to 0 first. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. So we're going to subtract the 4 from there. My cat really likes to be in other rooms that she's not in. And when she is not in there, she'll meow at the door until she is. So, all right. So we have this. Problem. Now, Kyla's got her hand raised. Kyla, you got a question or?
I
I didn't think my hand was raised, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to click that again. All right, so what we need here is we need to now factor this. Now we've got two different parts that we need to pay attention to for our factors. This 35 is one of them, the 3 is the other. Only one of those is a prime number, and that's the one we probably want to go with first, because the prime number can only have 1 and 3. So 3 will be the factors of either 1 and 3. 35 will either be 1 and 35 or 5 and 7. So it has more options. This sign right here means that we have the same signs in the binomials. If it was a minus sign, they would be opposite signs in the binomials. This one tells us that they are both negative. So I'm going to have a k minus and a k minus, leaving some space for our possible factors there. And then we have a 1 and a 3. So we're definitely going to have a k1 and a k3. So this 22 is sort of a weird number in the middle. It's not too big, but it's not really small. So we probably want to start with our middle factor pairs because it's not really big in the 35. And we are going to be, again, we're going to be adding, that sign's going to tell me that we're adding our outside and inside to get to the middle number. So we're going to be adding to get to 22. So we probably don't want to use the 35 at all because that's already over the 22. So the 5 and our 7 is going to be our option. Now the question is this going to be the 5 and this the 7, or is this going to be the 7 and this the 5? So we just need to explore that real quick. What is going to give us the number that we need there? So we need 22, so we want to create something a little less than 22 with this outside multiplication with the 3. And if I put the 7 there, right, it's going to give me, like if I use this 7 and that 3, that gives me a 21. And then I would have the 1 and the 5, which would give me too much more than 22. So this one's going to be the 5, and this one's going to be the 7. And I can just double check that, make sure that that works. And so here on the outside, my multiplication is a negative 15k. My inside multiplication is a negative 7k. So they come together to equal that negative 22k. So that is my factored form of this, all right? So I'm going to get rid of some of this because I am not done, even though I have factored it. I need to now solve it. So once I have these first coefficients, I usually am going to wind up with some fractions for my answers here. So at least one of them will wind up with a fraction, and in this case, since both of them have coefficients that won't divide evenly with their other number, they'll both wind up as fractions. So I'm going to have 5k minus 1 equals 0, or 7k minus 3 equals 0. Add 1 to both sides on that one, I get 5k equals 1. And then divide, I get k equals 1/5 when I divide both sides by 5. And this one I would add 3 to both sides, so I get 7k equals 3. When I divide by 7, I get the fraction of 3/7. Okay, so those are my two solutions, 1/5 and 3/7. All right, questions on those? All right, again, with factoring, there's a lot of, I don't want to say necessarily guess and check, but it's experimentation, knowing what you should eliminate, what you should try. what your signs are, and then going from there. So once you find it, though, getting to your solutions is fairly simple, usually just two-step equations at most for each solution. All right, any questions on this before I split you into rooms? And when I split you into rooms, you can ask me questions from the IXL section if you're working on those, or from the worksheet if that's what you're going to work on. And if you've already completed the IXL section and you don't necessarily want to do the worksheet, that's up to you. You can skip doing the worksheet. Just let me know that you're doing that in an EDSB message. So let me go to Anna real quick. Sorry, not Anna. Anna? Anna, what's up?
I don't get what you did after, like down there when it says 5k minus 1 equals 0, and then you split that up and then it says k 1 over 5. I don't understand that.
All right, so let me just move some of that work up here a bit. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so I can show you what I actually did there. So, oops. So what I did in this step is I divided this by 5, and then divided that by 5, right? And so what I get is that fraction. So k 1 divided by 5, which is 1/5. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. And would it be negative 1/5?
No, because I added 1 to both sides here. So let me just put that work in here. So it would be, because I'd be adding 1 to that and adding 1 to that. So it's a positive 1 on this side.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so looks like a couple of other hands. Let's see. So Emily had a question real quick. So Emily, what's up?
Yeah, sorry. So what if you already did the IXL and you want to do the worksheet, but you want to try it on your own and see if you're right? Can I still submit that to you later without being in the groups?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Jules. Jules, your mic working yet?
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, so the IXL that was due today, is that the IXL that you're talking about?
Yeah, the one from that I posted for Thursday.
Yes. That's the one that you're...
Yeah, so if you've already completed that one, you don't necessarily have to do this worksheet. I'm mainly doing this additional day of practice for people who were kind of stuck. So,
Oh, okay.
so if you're not stuck on how to do this, then you can probably skip the worksheet and just let me know that you're doing that. Actually, if you don't turn in the worksheet, but you've already done the IXL, I will assume that you are skipping the worksheet. So,
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's see. I'm not sure. Anna, is your hand back up, or did you just forget to put it down?
Yeah, so wait, it's BV8, right? That is the
IXL section, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and split you guys into some groups. I'm just going to let it do it randomly. But if you want to send me a message, if you want to be with someone, I can try and move you to that room, though. All right. So just going to let it split you up random, and then I'll just pop around from room to room. Once you're in the rooms, you can show each other your screens. So if you have a question on IXL, you can share your screen with your group and they can help you out with that. You can also unmute yourselves at that point and talk with each other as well. So let me split you up into, let's see, looks like we got about 24 people remaining here. So I'm going to split you into rooms of about 4, I guess. So let me do 5 rooms. We'll do 4 or 5 people per room. And we'll go ahead and open those up. And if you would like to switch to a room with someone else, please let me know by message on chat here. Hey guys, how we doing in here?
Pretty good, I think.
Yeah, we're doing good.
All right, so Kyla, I know you had asked me to be with a particular person, but that person I think dropped when we split into rooms, okay?
Mr. Peters, so my question is, here, let me turn my camera on. But no, not that way. So it's 41v squared minus 14v equals 0. So you bring the 0 in. And right now for my equation, I have parenthesis 41v minus, and then I have a blank. Actually, here, this is a lot easier. That's the equation I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how to fill in these 2 spots.
So wait a minute. Can you go back to the question first?
Yes.
Okay, so that one is missing the C term, right? It doesn't have a constant.
Right.
So that one you're just going to factor common factor.
Common factor.
So let me just write it on my whiteboard real quick, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So 41. I'm just going to use X. It's using V or something, right?
Yeah.
And is it 14X is the second term?
Yes. Or negative 14x.
So let me just change that to minus. All All right, so let me just show you, share this screen with you real quick. So,
Where'd my pencil go? It's right there.
all right, so for this one, right, because there's no C term, you're not going to factor this into two binomial pairs necessarily. This is going to be a greatest common factor situation when you're missing.
These are great.
So what you're looking for is any common factors between those two terms. In this case, the only common factor between these two terms, because 41 is a prime number, is the x. So x is a common factor, which means you're going to have 41x remaining and then minus 14 remaining there. So you'll get one binomial and one monomial when you have that situation.
Okay.
All right, and then you set each of those. And really you're only solving one of them because this monomial is always going to equal 0, right? Because even if this said like, for example, if it said 5x instead of x, it's still going to equal, x is still going to equal 0. So that coefficient is that goes with the x that comes out of there. This term always is going to equal 0. So when you have this situation, one of your solutions is always x equals 0. And then you just got to figure out what the other one is, and that comes from this one. So you would add.
And the other one is just 14 over 41, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Can you explain number 3 for me on the worksheet? It's
let me take a look at it.
Okay.
So 3's already factored for you.
Uh-huh.
You just got to set each of those equal to 0 and solve for the k. Excuse me. So like you would do 4k plus 5 equals 0 and k plus 1 equals 0, and then figure out what k equals in each situation.
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I kind of get it, but I don't, if that makes sense.
So this one's already factored. It's sort of factored for you.
Okay.
So you already have the two binomial factors. You're just going to set each of them equal to 0. So you're going to take 5 and set it equal to 0, and then take the 1 and set it equal to 0. And then figure out what k is equal to for each of those equations.
Okay.
So instead of factoring the trinomial first, they've already done that part for you. They've already factored it for you. You just got to figure out what k equals for each part.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to go check on a different room here. You guys know how to ask for help from these rooms?
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody else doesn't, if you know how, Kyla, just let them know. All right.
You just click the ask for help button.
Yeah, that would be it. But sometimes people miss it. So, all right. I'll be back if anybody needs help.
So, hello.
Yeah.
I only have coffee like 7 times a week. All right. And sometimes for dinner.
Nick, that's too much coffee.
Oh, you're in here now?
No.
Hello?
Hello?
Wait, is my video
we can't
work?
see you. We just can't see you right now.
Oh, yeah, I have this
Your
thing
screen's
on.
black.
There we go. See, I had coffee this morning.
That's nice, Nick.
It says crazy.
Crazy coffee?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
All right, so you guys doing okay in here? Besides Nick having too much caffeine?
Nothing. I already did everything. So like,
I'm doing the
Yeah,
worksheet.
I did the IXL this morning. like right before this.
Did mine yesterday.
So you don't have any questions on any of it then?
There was. I get the first two, but I'm kind of confused on the last part when you're factoring with the A coefficient.
So, I mean, that really just goes back to, right, having extra factors involved.
Mm.
You're really, instead of just looking at the last number, right, like when you don't have that first coefficient, you're really only looking at the factors of that last number that add up to the middle one, right? But when you have an A coefficient, you have to do, you're really looking at the combination of how the factors of the last number work with the factors of that first number. So how does the outside multiplication in FOIL meet with the inside multiplication of FOIL? So it's just a lot more kind of guess and check than the other, because there's more factors. It's just more stuff to look at. So
yeah,
it's obviously going to be a more difficult process because of that. But if you learn kind of like what you can eliminate in those factors, what's going to be too big, what's going to be too small, things like that, that kind of, and just more practice with it usually helps that. So,
okay.
All right. I'm going to go check on this last room, and then I think we're going to wrap up this class. So,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wait, what it?
hey guys.
Hi, Mr.
Hello. We have a question on number 9, or at least I do. If it's a minus and minus, would it be separate signs?
Yeah, opposite signs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, different. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay.
So it would be the first one would be minus and the second one would be addition.
Which one is it? 9 you're looking at?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, so you will have opposite signs. It's because of that first. So actually, let me put this one on here real quick. I'll work on this one with you guys to show you something, because I think this one's going to actually have a common factor that you can probably take out. So let me.
Oh, yeah. 6.
Yeah, because you can divide a 6 out of all of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we'd still have to do, so it's negative 18 equals 6 for the end. So will we still subtract 6 first and then take out 6 from it? Or we just.
I mean, you could do it either way. You could do it either way. You could divide everything first, or so let me share this screen with you real quick so I can show you what I'm doing. So yeah, because they're all divisible by 6 initially, you could just divide it all by 6 first, or you move that 6 over and then divide by 6. So either way works. I would say move it over first, and then, because just get it equal to 0 first is usually the easiest thing. So, whoops. So if we subtract the 6, get 6n squared minus 18n minus 24 there equals 0. And now divide everything by 6, we'd get n squared minus 3n minus 4. That's a much easier thing to factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So always look, especially if something's got that first coefficient, always look to see if you can divide that out, or at least make it a smaller number, right?
Yeah.
Because even if they were even, you could divide a 2 out, and then at least you've got a prime number on there instead of the 6, right? So if you can even just get a prime number on that first term, it's easier.
And then would it be n minus 4 and n plus 1 equals 0?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, n minus 4 and n plus
Yeah.
10?
Yep.
Plus 1, yeah.
And then you set both of those equal to 0 and figure out what your x's are, or n's are in this case, I guess.
But how'd you get 10?
No, 1.
Oh, I was like, oh.
Negative 4 and plus 1.
All right, so Kyla's got a quick question, so I'm going to jump over there, all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyla, what's up?
Hi, I had 2 questions.
Okay.
So the first question is, I'm a little confused. So you know how once you like factor it out and you get into the parentheses, right?
Are we talking on the worksheet?
Yes.
Which
Here.
number specifically?
Well, this one I'm talking about 5.
Stop, dog. Number 5? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got it down to x in parentheses x minus 8, and then close parentheses, and then another parentheses x minus 3.
Yeah.
And I'm confused. If I have to do something, what do I do?
So from there, you got to take both of those binomials, right? The x minus 8 and the x minus 3. Because if the two of them multiplied together equal 0, then at least one of them has to equal 0. So at both of those expressions, those two binomials, each of them into 2 separate equations. So you would say x minus 8 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. And then you solve those 2 equations.
Or x minus 3 equals 0?
Yeah, that's your other binomial, right?
Well, yeah. And then wouldn't it just be the opposite integers of them?
Yeah, you would just add 8 and add 3.
So it would be positive 8 and positive 3?
Yeah.
Oh, and then, Mr. Peters, I also have a question.
Yes.
So, I have an equation, but it has no b term.
Let's see. Can you show it to me?
Yes. Like that. Oh, wait, no. All right. Good focus.
You know you can screen record, Evan, right?
I'm doing this on my phone.
Oh.
And then.
Yeah, he's zooming on his phone. So just tell me what it is. What is the equation again?
Right. So it's 9n squared.
Yeah.
Minus 49 equals 0.
Okay. So that is a special case rule. 9n squared is a perfect square. 49 is a perfect square. Right? So that is the difference of 2 squares, correct? So how does the difference of 2 squares factor? Do you remember?
Oh, wait. So then you'd probably make it 3n minus 7.
Uh-huh. And?
Oh, then what do you, wait, no. Oh.
Remember the difference of 2 squares is?
And then it would be 3n plus 7.
Yeah. So you're going to have opposite answers there, but they'll both be fractions.
So it'll just be negative 7 over 3. So it'd be negative 7 over 3 and then positive 7 over 3.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and close out this Zoom class because it's 1 o'clock already. So I'm going to go ahead and close these rooms. And
Will we be able to ask you questions during your office hours?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me get back to. All right, so guys, we're waiting on last couple in one of these breakout rooms. So, all right, so Donovan and Jules, I know you guys had some questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but let me unmute you guys real quick. So I just wanted to close those rooms out. So what was the question you guys had before we go?
We had trouble on 13.
All right, so number 13, let me look at it real quick.
Because we got to the point where it was k to the second power minus 8k equals 0, but we didn't know what to do from that point on.
All right, so let me just take a look at that one. I'm gonna just put it on our whiteboard here. All right, so share this. So you said you were at what stage? What did you get? You're at 2 squared?
K to second power minus 8k equals 0.
All right, so you added 3 and added the 5k, and that's where that came from, right? So this goes back to a question I had from Evan in his breakout room, is when you have these that are missing the C term, right? Once this C term disappears, remember, really the only thing we can do to factor this is take out a common factor between those two terms. So what's the common factor between k squared and negative 8k?
Okay.
Yeah, so we can take out a k, leaving us with k minus 8, and that's still equal to 0. So that's as much as you can do when that C term disappears, is take out that common factor. Then you set each of those equal to 0 and get your two solutions. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Yep, so I just realized as I was trying to stop the recording for this that I forgot to start recording this. So it's a good thing this was just a review lesson and nothing new here. So there won't be a video on YouTube for this because I didn't record anything for this session. So let your friends know if they missed something that they can just come see me in their office, in my office hours, all right? So thanks for showing up today, guys. It's helpful to have people to ask questions and answer questions. So I appreciate you coming in and certainly sticking around to the end, all right? We'll see you.
Also, sorry my mic wasn't working in the beginning.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know what was happening. But
That's okay. It happened with Miss Carrie in the pre-algebra group too. So it's just weird sometimes, I think, what this program does. So
yeah.
all right. Well, if you guys need any additional help, come see me at from 2 to 3, and we'll see you otherwise on Wednesday. Have a good one. Fist bump.